977 million in net loss for NIO in the last quarter. And I think it's time for investor to take a deep look at this. And I'm honest with you, I'm starting to get, losing my patience with this management team. And I'm sorry, I don't care if some people out there are threatening me. I'm just sharing my thoughts and idea. I've been a long time bull on NIO. I was hoping even in the past couple of years where like stuff started to come from beneath the surface that things are not looking good. But honestly, we have a responsibility, all of us as small investors, to be honest with ourselves and the others that around us that are investing in NIO stock. This doesn't look good. Like, how could you possibly lose this amount of money when at the same time Zeekr, a much newer company, roughly is having same amount of revenue as NIO had in this last quarter, but the net loss is like 10 to 15% of what NIO's net loss is. So Zeekr is like doing like 100 to 200 million in net loss, whereas NIO is pushing to 1 billion in net loss on a single quarter. Can you just imagine and comprehend the numbers? And then we have on top of that, we have, all this like overpromise and underdeliver. And there's not like one or two example of this. It's like every single time you find a couple of examples of these like utter nonsensical overpromises and then underdelivering like by historical amounts. Look at this. March 22 earnings call. They were aiming to be profitable by fourth quarter of 2023 and have an annual profitability by 2024. Obviously, we know what happened in 2024. They lost 1 billion in a single quarter almost in Q4, as we saw today, right? Now, going to one other example, like a more recent example, just like I think in September or so, they said, we're gonna do 16,000 Onvo deliveries in January, which never happened. Total NIO deliveries came in at 13,800 or so for January, let alone only Onvo delivering 16K. And then in March, they were supposed to do like 20,000 deliveries. And currently, I think in March, they're gonna looking like to do like 13 to 15,000 deliveries for the entire month for both NIO Classic and Onvo. So nowhere near the 20,000. Like nothing looks good. I mean, Xpeng are doing like monthly deliveries of 30,000. Wouldn't be surprised to see Xpeng doing 40,000 deliveries monthly. And then you have NIO like barely doing like what they used to do essentially. Like, I mean, let's be honest at this. Like, let's look at the graph here. So the green that you see here, the green bars are for 2023 and the blue for 2024, the gray for this year. I mean, if you compare them, sure, they're higher this year, but they're nowhere near the, 30,000 or 40,000 deliveries that they're supposed to have on average in order to reach the goal of around 400 to 450,000 yearly deliveries in 2025. Why do I say that number of 40,000 a month and 400 to 450,000 a year? Well, they've been like hinting on that, and some of the people actually I think if it was someone in the management that even mentioned explicitly like 350 to 450,000 deliveries for 2025, which is supposed to be a doubling of 2024's 220,000. And I think their train of thought was like, I mean, we did 220,000 essentially without Onvo in 2024. They might have delivered like 10, 15,000 Onvos of those, but a lion's share of that 220,000 are classical NIO. So if we're doing like 220,000 there, a full years of Onvo and also this third sub-brand, the Firefly, sure, they can do like double that and make 400,000 cars. Kind of makes sense if you think about it that way, but then you think about that this is NIO and the management of which like they're spending money, billions on like doing, like, I mean, they're spending R&D budget of selling 50,000 phones, right? It's just like words cannot describe how utterly disappointed I am with this management team. And I'm kind of like proud to have been very clear that Xpeng would have been a much better investment over the past year. And I think, in my opinion, I was naive to even trying to hope, like give them one more chance, this management team. But right now, going to the actual numbers, like not only is Q1, like think about it this way. They report Q4 of last year today, which we are 10 days away from the first day of Q2. Every single company essentially has already reported their earnings way back, like some of them like AMD and Tesla did like 5-6 weeks ago. So the reporting rate, why do they do that? In my opinion, obviously they know that they were gonna make $1 billion net loss and the market wouldn't like that. Usually then you would counter that with a good guideline, like you would have a good guidance for the next quarter, maybe improvement. But what happens now in the guidance? Well, they're gonna go down with like 43% in deliveries. So from 74,000 to 42,000. I wrote this 42,000 down here now for Q1 of this year. Remember that if you've been following this channel, when I wrote my targets for Q1 of 2025 half a year ago, I was like looking, maybe 80,000 deliveries, because Q4 was like 74, just a mere 6,000 more in like Q1, especially with Onvo. They were going to do like 20,000 deliveries in March, so why not, right? But obviously that's not going to be the case now. They're going down 43% in vehicle deliveries quarter over quarter. They're gonna go down like probably 35 to 40% in revenue. You look at some metrics like cost per sold car is going down a little bit over the past, let's say, year, from 33,000 to 28,000. Looking at some other metrics like SG&A, we can see that SG&A divided by vehicle sales is gonna be like 43%. Obviously this is a unique quarter where it's gonna be really, really bad delivery numbers. But we can see it's not going in the right direction. Traditionally, you would want to see that sales and administrative going down as you obviously go closer to profitability. So when I see this for next quarter, there's no way that I can believe that this company is going to be profitable anytime soon. SG&A divided by revenue, again, going up. So it's going in the wrong direction. The R&D budget divided by the revenue also going in the wrong direction. Like, we saw some improvement Q1 of 24 to Q2 of 2024, going from 29% to 18.5%. But then it went to 17.7, 18.66, as now it's gonna balloon up to 27%. So everything is moving in the wrong direction. The cash position is finally starting to look quite dire. Sure, 5 to 4 billion in cash position was okay if they were making like 400-500 million net loss, but now they're making like $1 billion or so net loss almost per quarter. So again, we are in a really bad position. The stock has been going nowhere. In fact, since the 2021 peak, it's just been bleeding. You look at the 5-year performance. If you look especially from those who bought here, they've like lost money, unless like if you bought like from just before the hype on the previous cycle. But 95% of the people that bought into this company are probably lost money, and by that quite a lot. So I think look at during those 4 or 5 years, you can see that they diluted the share count, went from essentially 1 billion shares to 2 billion shares. So nothing looks good, and again, people are starting finally to lose trust on the management. Even the likes of this gentleman here, I've been following him for many years. He's been maybe a little bit too overconfident on NIO, but even him, like one of the biggest bulls on NIO with lots of amount of shares on his hand, even he is starting to question the management. It's not only me, like these people are not serious. Like, how can you, in an environment where you see Xpeng going from place to place, like they're really delivering good, and they're not doing all this nonsensical, like spending money on so many different different models. Like, they're barely selling any Onvos, and they're gonna already launch like another Onvo, and they're gonna launch like the ET9. I don't know exactly, but there are probably more than 10 different cars now, especially if you look at the sedan variants and the touring variants. I wouldn't be surprised if they're close to 15 different models, right? So this small company has 15 different models. Every year they have like a facelift for every year, for like model year 2023. They always blame, oh, you know what? It's because like in April, we're going to have our new 2025 or 2026 model year. So that's why people are not buying. Well, if you have to have this kind of facelift every single year, I think you don't have a sound business model, right? How often do you see Tesla do this kind of larger big facelift? Very rarely, right? So I think I'm getting very frustrated with this, and I'm just sharing my honest thoughts with you, and this does not look good. The ET9, sure, it's a great engineering car, whatever you say about NIO, they have great engineering. Like the cars, I've test drive one of them, and it's really good, much better than the Tesla Model 3. So I'm not trying to be negative. Again, I'm coming from a place, I've been a huge NIO bull for the majority of the past 5 years. But it's just sometimes you have to face reality and say, I was wrong about this management team. Like I have to be honest, they're clueless. Like, what are you doing? Like, the market cap is in the bin. Like, they're less than essentially, yeah, $10 billion market cap. That is like, they completely tanked the stock, and I don't have any trust in them anymore. Like, unless they prove what they are doing. But sadly, I mean, they're spending 600 million to 700 million on SG&A for a company of this size. Like, they have a total operating expenses that is, in 1.1 billion US dollar, and R&G budget of $500 million or so. And they're barely selling, like, some of the models are barely selling 1,000 cars a month or so. Like, if they have 15 models and they're selling 12 to 13,000 cars a month, on average each model is probably selling at best 1,000 per month. Like, how can you justify having 10 to 15 car models and you're selling like 1,000 or so per month on each of them? It just doesn't make sense. Something needs to happen. And I think currently there's so many better options and companies that deserve your money than NIO. This management team, the only way for them to learn is to either to leave or to actually hold her up and apologize to investors for the past 4 years. Like, how, I'm not saying that they're not going to be profitable by end of the year, but how could you possibly trust this management team? But anyways, that's going to do it for today. I'm just so utterly disappointed by this management team. So please like, subscribe. I would love to see your point of view on this stock, and yeah, please would be appreciated if a lot of you guys that are watching also subscribe and maybe share and like the video. I think that's gonna help me to finally get over this threshold of 1,000 subscribers. But anyways, thanks for your time, and see you in the next one.